please, Julie.
Larry Fiedler,
Here.
Greg J,
Here.
Scott Stierwald,
Here.
Justin Witt.
Here. Any additions or deletions to the agenda?
I have an addition, under claims and transfers, letter H, could we add utility supply invoice, please?
And I'm gonna remove town marshal, 7A. Adam he's dealing with his situation, and Wade had a prior commitment tonight, so he can't make it. Anything else? Okay. Approvals of the minutes? So moved. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Claims and transfers.
From general, $152,669.21.
Motion?
Nope. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
From water, $45,128.90.
And do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
From wastewater, $159,905.40.
And do I have a motion? Move. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
From payroll, $58,520.05.
And do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Water Solutions Unlimited, invoice number 7398874, in the amount of $4,251.80.
And that's, again, just chemicals.
Yes.
And do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Water Solutions Unlimited, invoice number 7406760, in the amount of $4,654.03.
And can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Buckeye Power Sales, invoice number P12033920, in the amount of $3,706.33.
Any questions or?
Was that for repairs?
The Buckeye, that was the, gym. So we do service and repairs.
And can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Utility Supply, invoice 1559830, in the amount of $3,360.15.
And can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's all I have, thank you.
All right, brings us to Jason.
First item is the IDM Recycle Grant. The only thing I want to mention here is that we will be required to do a Board of Zoning Appeals action for a special exception, and the plan is to have that in June. And I will get to work on that with Lisa Designer to make that happen. And Greg, or Mr. President, I know you and I talked about, I know there are a couple people, I think Dennis Flory may want to speak with regards to that as well. We talked about possibly moving that up to this. He's actually on the agenda later.
Later, so we want to move him up here.
But it's the same issue, or same
Discussion.
topic. Yes, so if you still want to continue with that, I believe. that's what I was-
Anybody opposed to that? Okay,
Thank you.
the floor is yours.
I'm Dennis Flory.
Could you come up to the front? Dennis?
Yeah, sure,
Will that
sure.
work for you?
I'm Dennis Flory. We own the DTF liquidation sales down here across from the post office and the old auction, Smith Farm Machinery building as well. We've invested a lot of money in that property over the last 2 years to make it look nice and make a nice presentation for the town. We're not really in favor of having recycling bin back there because of a couple of reasons. One, the amount of money we've invested, we feel like that's gonna hurt our property value. Two, with the alley traffic the folks that come south on Main Street and turn left instead of going to the traffic light and cutting through the alley with the proposed plan for the exit off of the recycle bin location. It's gonna be right behind our building, and we operate forklifts back and forth back there frequently. And then you have the traffic that comes through and turns left, so they're gonna be turning right into that flow of traffic back there. That's one of the reasons that we're not, really in favor of them, because we think it's gonna be a safety concern for us. We had a very productive meeting with Jason on Friday. We really appreciate his time spending with us, talking to us about the recycling project. We believe that recycling is a good thing. We don't think it's a bad thing. We just think there are other locations that we could look at, potentially even, and not have to use grant money or potentially $12,000 of the town's money, the taxpayers' money, to put that behind that place. We mentioned perhaps taking it out to the 11.9 acres that's currently leased for hay land on County Road 675 East by your water treatment plant. And that's an option that we think might be a good option to look at. The recycling bin has been here, I think Jason mentioned that he's been here about 5 years, I think. Is that right, Jason? The recycling bin's been in town here for a long time. It's not the first time. I can remember it being at the school parking lot years ago. And I believe I can remember it also being down at where the old IGA building was on Mill Street in that parking lot for a lot of years ago. So those might be options that we could potentially look at as an alternative to this. Putting it back there where, I just don't think it's a safe place, I think it's gonna cause a lot of grief back there.
Any discussion from the board and or Jason?
I think Jason mentioned that we had like potentially 18 months to use the money. So it seems like there's time to research alternative locations. And by all means,
The hard part for the council is this has been in discussion for 3 years. It's been open discussion for 3 years, and we're now at a final stage, and now it becomes a problem. So all the time, effort, and discussions we've had over the last 3 years,
well,
it's like starting over again.
3 years ago, I didn't own that property for one, okay?
Sure.
Previous folks have mentioned different avenues for the use of that property. I'm not sure when the exact date was that the town acquired that particular property. I can tell you that 2 years ago, I had reached out to the hospital twice about purchasing that property and never received a call back from it. I didn't want to jump too soon until I was sure what we were going to do with the property that we did buy. So once we got that property going, we reached out again to the hospital board and never heard anything back about it. So, Jason reached out to them, or they reached out to you guys about donating the land to you, and that's how you guys ended up with the property. Well, we ultimately wanted to utilize that little particular strip of land for parking for our employees, to leave customer parking up front for the two businesses that occupy those two buildings now. So I know that you've spent, you're saying you've spent 3 years on it, but we've been working for 2 years to try to acquire the property ourselves.
Sure.
And that was also speaking through people who were on the town council at the time, and that wasn't mentioned then. It wasn't mentioned until just shortly before the grant stuff came out, that that's what the town's purpose was to put that, or desire was to put that recycling bin at that location. So,
Did you say you're currently parking cars on this property?
pardon me?
Did you say you're currently parking cars on this property?
Occasionally people park there. It's not us.
You said your employees are parking there, so you
No,
do
but-
this.
No, that's where we would like our employees to
Oh,
park. To leave parking for our customers for the two businesses that occupy those buildings.
The land that was donated to us, was that with the stipulation that recycle go there? I feel like I heard that at some point.
I don't believe there's a deed restriction that states that. That was what their belief would do with it. Kelly, you don't remember exactly what do you? I don't think there's anything that required it, but I know that was presented to them as that's what the purpose was.
Is that part of the grant?
Is that to, who was them, Jason? I'm sorry. Presented to-
The Putnam County Hospital.
Okay, thank you.
When we-
I didn't hear you. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
when we approached the hospital, there's no doubt in my mind that that's what our intent was, that's what we proposed to them.
Right.
The only, and I don't think this is on the deed restriction either, but I do know we made a commitment to them that we would put a fence up on the south side. And we did include a fence in the grant application. That is what they believed we were going to do. That's another reason they requested a fence.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm guessing you have seen the drawing that Jason gave you. So you can see that exit comes right into the middle of that building back there. So, and I understand that the desire was for people to turn left and go out to exit the alley to the left. But that's where I'm saying the people coming down the alley, between our building and the building on the south side of that alley, coming off of the post office, they're gonna be turning right into that. We get it all the time on the forklift as it is, and now we wanna put a lot more traffic in there coming to and from a recycling bin that we don't have to deal with right now, so that's why we have a safety concern for us and our employees.
If there were, like, I don't know, barricades that stopped people from turning right down that alley, would that mitigate your safety concerns? I know it wouldn't mitigate all your concerns, but is that particular one mitigated in that?
Well, I even mentioned, Jason and I kind of talked about, well, could we make some of those one-way alleys, you
Right.
know? But that, you're not gonna stop everybody. I think people are gonna say, oh, well, you know, go through it anyway, but, I just think that, I mean, even the location down on Mill Street, are you familiar with that, Jason? On Mill Street down there, the big parking lot next, across from the liquor store there, used to be IGA years and years ago. That recycling bin, I think you can remind me, used to sit right there on the south edge of that parking lot. And there's tons of room in there for people to come in and out of that parking lot. And it's a business that's not currently utilized very often at all, you know? Now, I understand that's property that the town doesn't own. That would have to go through probably Schwab's, who probably still own that, I'm guessing. I don't know that for a fact. But that would give an area where the trucks could get in and out pretty easy. They, you know, I don't know how long Walgreens been bringing the containers in and out, if they were doing it back then or not. But I would just like to see us research a little bit more into a potential better location than that. And if you don't have to spend $12,000 out of the town's budget to do it, then that could be a good thing, I would think. You could put that towards other projects.
The thing is, when we designed it, it was for the convenience of getting the dumpsters in and out. So there was more into, you know, not just location, but convenience for the driver to drop and pick up.
Sure.
So there's a whole bunch of, again, there's been a whole bunch of planning put into this for that location. And there's been a lot of time and effort put into it. And now, you know, we're at the final hour and now we want to change it.
Well-
So, and that's, you know, no fault on yours or ours. I mean,
Right,
it's,
and I understand that, and, you know, it'd be great to come down to all the town meetings. My personal business, from 4 to 8 on Tuesday nights, that's when I'm conducting my personal, my business down here in my store, you know, that's when I do my live shows on Tuesdays from 4 to 8. So to make it to town meetings is not a real easy thing for me to get accomplished
Understandable.
without having an effect on our bottom line as well. I guess I'm gullible enough to think that a project like that would have been conducted would have involved talking to the property owners around it before we logged all these hours and all these planning sessions to see what the feasibility of it really was, you know, through the rest of the people who it has an effect on. You know, I mentioned, you know, I hear all the time that, you know, parking in the downtown area is a concern. That's not the town's job to provide parking for the businesses. But if you're wanting to attract businesses, that might be something that you might look at, you know, I mean, to evaluate if that's a good idea to put that there or not. But
Okay, we're gonna take everything
Thank
into
you.
consideration at this point.
Well, the plan commission will be meeting, and that's when the neighbors will be notified, the neighbors.
Yeah, right.
So there is a process where,
It's gonna take some time. We're not gonna say yes or no right now, there's gotta be more discussion. And, you know,
Jason indicated to me, you know, when we visited, I hope that's okay, that, you know, you're open to alternative locations versus that if the right situation would occur
well,
for
that's
everybody
that's why
involved.
we encourage the public to get involved in the
Yeah.
decisions. We can't just leave it up to the 5 or 6 guys sitting
Absolutely,
here.
absolutely.
And we ask for people to get involved, but it's much easier for us if they're involved at the start of the project, not at the finish.
Right. And I don't think that anybody knew anything about it who doesn't tune into the meetings. You know, I just recently started tuning into meetings. I don't live in Cloverdale, obviously, I live outside of Cloverdale. But as a business owner who has employees who work here and things like that, I've started paying attention to the stuff that happens here in the town of Cloverdale because it has a direct effect on our bottom line too.
We want Cloverdale to be successful, so we appreciate the input. So we're gonna close that discussion out, and
Thank you.
thank you.
the next item is the Okra Water Grant. Eric Smith, WC Engineering is here, he can probably lead you on that.
Yes, just to refresh everybody, the last August, the town was awarded a $700,000 Okra grant to make improvements to the water system. In February, we bid the project. There were two divisions. Division A, which was the water treatment work, which was generally some replacing filter media at the pressure filters at the plant, replacing the sodium hydroxide tank, replacing chemical feed equipment, repairing a couple other tanks, and also demolition of and abandonment of an existing booster station that's not operating. And then Division B was a 10-inch water main on County Road 900, basically finishing that loop that we had done 2 sections of for some other projects. This piece includes a section under 231. So those were the two contracts that were bid. The low bid for Division A was submitted by Graves Construction in the amount of $345,678. And the low bid for Division B was submitted by Dunkley Excavating in the amount of $298,338.60. Those were submitted on February 12th. We have reviewed those and recommend that the low bids be awarded. Reason it's taken a little bit of time since the bid opening is we had to get release of funds from Okra, and there were a couple of hoops that, a couple of contractors, some paperwork issues before Okra would give release of funds. We now have that, so I would recommend the board accept those bids and award Division A to Graves and Division B to Dunkley, and authorize signing of the notice of award, the contract, and the notice to proceed. We'll date the notice of award and contracts today. The notice to proceed won't be dated until we have our pre-construction meeting, and that'll give the contractor official notice to proceed. That will likely happen in the next 30 days.
Any questions or discussion, guys? A motion to accept?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
We'll get the paperwork filed, and we'll be coordinating a pre-construction meeting with Jason and his staff, and like I said, that should happen in the next 30 days. As far as construction completion, the biggest thing will likely be some delivery of the material and equipment at the water plant, but I would guess the work would be complete late summer, early fall. So, and we'll give you updates in the coming months.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
The next item is the Lieber wastewater project. I know this has been dragging on for a long, long time. We did order there were two last items, we had that additional about $9,500. We did order the brass pump, and we are getting a Roto-Rooter that we're hoping to pick up tomorrow. So those are the last two items, and hopefully this time it's for sure going to be wrapping up, so.
That is the last of the funds.
That is the last
That's
of the
broke. You've used them all.
We've been surprised a couple times, and it's worked out in our favor, so there were a couple little items that we just picked up to fill out that balance with, so just wanted to update you on that. The sign grant, I don't know if anyone's noticed, but we've got a lot of new signage in town. The regulatory signs, they started last Friday, they were installing even today. I noticed they were there at Grant and Kylie Way today installed in that area, so the new stop signs, speed limit signs, that type of thing. So they were expecting that to last about 3 weeks total, so we're probably close to halfway finished. CCMG, that's Community Crossings Matching Grant. This was awarded a while back. The contractor, Baumgartner contractor, was here last Thursday and Friday. They did milling on Thursday, paving on Friday. That is completely done. I did make a request to the council president last week. We had some areas that I thought we needed to address, primarily on East Robert West, over by the cemetery, that had gotten much worse over the winter. Just for some reason this winter really hit that area hard. What I was asking for, that was an additional $20,000 quote that we received from Baumgartner to do that, although I don't believe it's going to be $20,000. I'm expecting
That's what I call
less. So, but that does need formal action if you could approve that expenditure of not to exceed $20,000, although I think it's going to be substantially less than that.
Okay.
And that was all on Robert West. If you, that area going up the hill there, the insurance agency, and then farther east of the school, Larry, you probably go out that way. That was getting pretty rough.
Okay. So can I get a motion to approve up to 20K?
I move that we approve up to 20K for that.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Kelly, it looks like you again.
All right, and you have all your financial reports in your packet. So far, everything is to be expected. I will just make a note that we have finally received the last ready payout for that water project. It just came yesterday. So that contractor will be paid this week, and they have been very patient with us. So that is very much appreciated. So that'll be paid out, and then we'll work to close that project out. That's all I have, unless there's any questions.
Any questions? All right, old business.
The annexation, as we recall, there's a few property owners who were voluntarily agreeing to allow for annexation. We purposely set it up into individual, for each property, it was a one big action. We feared that we wouldn't get everything signed, and I didn't think it's a good idea we did it that way. It worked out because we haven't gotten them all signed yet, but for the sake of just getting this completed, we're gonna start the process next month. Maybe we'll get the final one between then, and we can start at the same time, but just, I'll send out the timeline for everybody so they're aware of the meeting dates. I'm almost sure that we will not have to have a special meeting at the time it will work. I just gotta check the dates, because May does have 31. But that shouldn't be a problem, because they'll start in June, and July, is July 30 or, I'll send out the timeline so everybody knows. I just want to confirm that. And then hopefully we get the final one signed as well.
It's just one that we're holding on.
Yeah. And again, this is voluntary, they didn't discuss, I don't know if they, hopefully I'll know more, but we're gonna start the other ones, just to make the ball.
Thank you. And then the aerial sign, Jason?
Yeah, and I don't remember if I updated you on this at the last meeting. I asked what to say on that. We're waiting on a grant funding from Putnam County Foundation to see if they will assist with that aerial sign project. The Putnam County CDB did commit $10,000 towards that project, which I don't know if I told you at the last meeting or not, I can't remember. So we do have that commitment, we're just waiting to see if the foundation is going to fund. So as soon as we know that, I will let you know.
All right. And abandoned properties.
We are still working on those. We had given a few of the property owners some time, but there has been some movement on some of the properties with regards to getting them back in condition, livable conditions.
So we are
it's
making
progress.
headway.
We are. It's slow, but it's progress.
And the Hoagie Carmichael Way restriping.
At the last meeting, you asked me to check with the county about whether they have the ability to paint. They do not. They said it was a total disaster whenever they would use their striping machine. They used to have one apparently, and they contracted out now. And they gave me a couple of names, but I'm not even sure if you guys even want to do the striping. I know we've talked
We
about.
got a couple of bids on that, one with reflective, one,
Correct. I don't know if those are still in your
It should
packet.
be in your packet.
Yeah, from last time.
It's just whether,
do we want
and
to?
I guess that's true with, I think that was Hoagie Carmichael and Stardust Way, or Stardust Road, sorry.
Any discussion on that, or?
And you may not want to do either one, but we will have to use a contractor.
I didn't realize it was Stardust Road.
Yeah, it was Stardust Road and Hoagie Carmichael Way. That quote was for both, to do both.
Okay.
I had separated because Stardust Road at one point did have lines. You can see it very faintly in a few places, but it's very faintly. Stardust, I'm sorry, I always say Stardust Way because I'm still used to it. Hoagie Carmichael, to my knowledge, has never had lines unless you had to remember it faded away. But since I've been here, it's not happening.
Yeah. Any other discussion on that, or we just want to table it? Or say no strike?
$10,740 just for paint, that's both Hoagie Carmichael and Stardust. And how much of that are we gonna have to come up with?
All of it.
All of it?
Since,
There's no local matter, I mean, there's no grant for this, or anything. This is just a,
Did you say you thought someone would split it with us? I thought I remembered, but maybe it was something else I was saying.
that was a different project.
Got
You talked
I
about
think you're talking about with the
redevelopment.
school.
You had
Oh,
talked about
I'm
redevelopment.
sorry, that's what you mean, I thought you meant.
Okay.
yeah,
That is a possibility of redevelopment. I think we talked about that on Stardust Road, because that road was originally paid for with redevelopment money, which it is paid off. No, that we're not paid off. It was the other way we paid off, didn't we? We're still paying on that road, so.
So do we still want to look at those options, or do we just want to?
I think we need, I didn't realize it was Stardust Road. So I was kind of against it. But with the traffic to Seabar City, I kind of feel like maybe it needs to be striped, at least Stardust Road. And plus the stop sign. Isn't there 3 lanes at the stop sign going into Stardust?
Make a turn lane and
Yeah.
separate it,
Yeah, so that people realize that.
that it's actually a turn lane, yeah.
Brian with redevelopment is here, Brian Maynard. I don't know if he has an opinion on that. I don't, this
We
is
didn't
not
have
a
quorum last month, so we didn't get to talk about it, but it's on the agenda for this month.
So I guess let's table it till they have a chance to talk, and then we'll revisit this next month.
Okay. And do you want to go ahead and get another bid or two?
I can. Is there a preference on the type of paint? On that quote, it has the
Reflective.
reflective. I will say that is a very, very dark road going out there. There are street lights along there on the north side, but they set back quite a ways, and it is dark, and especially when it's raining, it is dark. I'm not sure if it justifies that additional expense, but
Let's
I'm not aware
get
of
some
any
more
other-
bids
Okay.
and see,
I was given the name of the company that the county uses, so I can call them.
let's do a little more research on that, and then we'll revisit it after everybody else meets.
And Stardust is the road that goes into Seabar City, right?
Is it- Sorry, is that just center stripe, or is it side stripes too?
That was both, that was the outside white and the,
Okay.
I believe it was a solid yellow, because I don't think
It's a
he
no
would
pass
pass in.
area,
Yeah,
right.
he wouldn't want passing, but I'm pretty sure that's what it calls for.
And then they were gonna do the turn lane separation, all that, as part of that.
It'd be interesting to know from CRC how many of their participants come in at night.
Or leave.
Or probably leave more than come in.
Yeah,
Right.
and if that's the case, then the reflective would probably be a good idea. Because they're pulling trailers, there's all kinds of.
$8,000 difference?
Well, yeah, it's not, I mean,
Yeah, it's,
I'm not saying for both sections, but at least if it's heavily used by the participants at night, the safety.
well, and I think we probably, if we're gonna do that, we probably wanna update some signage there too, with stop signs and turn lane.
Already been done. You got new stop signs there. And new little
And the
things
whirly
around,
birds, we
those
did
are on
the
there as
whirly
well.
birds, because it is such a dark intersection, I mean, look at options there.
And you know, if we can pick and choose, take the reflective on Stardust and the non-reflective on Home Carmichael, I
Oh,
assume
yeah.
so.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we can, but I don't think it's broken out that way, but I'm sure we
Right.
can get that broken out for you. I wasn't expecting to quote with two different types of paint, so.
Right.
Kind of, I
And
didn't know there was two separate paint.
Yeah, are we gonna, you know, if the reflective is super expensive, do we really need to do the reflective on the side stripes or just the center stripe, you know? Save some cost and maybe just do the center stripe reflective. So I guess let's look at different options to save money and get the best bang for the buck.
I just brought it because I didn't know if you guys even wanted to do it. I don't have a strong opinion one way or another. It's a lot of money, and I agree with Scott on that, but.
Well, it also adds curb appeal when people,
See,
you know,
stripe
go to
is
CBRC.
finished out, sure. Because right now, there is no, you know, designated turn area, it's just kind of a free-for-all. All right, I guess CSX.
CSX has been on this agenda, I don't know, 2 or 3 times a year, every year for the last 5 years, and I think it's probably been on here for the last 30 years. My frustrations are growing.
We
and-
made a little progress and we stepped back a little.
Yes, and I have not called a consultant, but I am not opposed to reaching out to a consultant and seeing if they would be interested in representing the town in doing some type of public relations campaign. My biggest concern with CSX isn't necessarily the trail, I mean, because they offer the purchase agreement. We've got a purchase agreement on the rail line as it comes to town. One concern I want to address is Robert Weist. It's not fair for the people of Cloverdale to have to deal with that crossing. I've called the gentleman who handles crossings in Indiana, I've called him probably 10 times in the last 2 months. I get no response. I deal with their real estate office, I get no response.
Can we encourage them to at least maintain the crossing, fill in the
I just love to have that
potholes,
conversation,
level it?
and if they're not going to communicate back, I can't even talk to them about
Is that
that.
something Richard could get involved
I've got
in?
some contacts at CSX, but
I mean,
We're
if
30
they're not
years.
gonna let us do anything with it, at least have them fix it.
We discussed eminent domain.
So one thing I remember about railroads is when they were laying railroads and making all the rules for railroads, they were way ahead of the time on protecting themselves. They have more protection and rules in their favor than, I'm not too sure, any other industry. That being said, I'm working with CSX on getting some property for trails in another county. And let me follow up with this person and see if he can help with this portion.
Yeah, if we can't get it removed, at least repaired.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's a bear to go over right
Yeah.
now, and it gets worse every year.
I would really like to look into some type, I mean, I know that's gonna be an expense, but, you know, we've sent letters to our congressman, our 2 United States senators, our state representative, our state senator, our governor, Our transportation secretary, I've gotten one response from that group, and that was from our congressman, and his response was a form letter that had no mention of the issue that I contacted them about. So clearly, they do not seem to care. A public relations type action by the community generally gets their attention, and I think we're to that point. This is not dissimilar from a lobbying type action that a lot of cities and towns do have, where you would have a lobbyist that go to Indianapolis or go to DC and fight for your issues back home. I just think we're to the point, if there's one big issue that infuriates every single person in this town, and Larry, I know you fought this many times, it's that darn crossing. And it frustrates me, and I know what's going to happen, okay? That I brought this up at the meeting tonight. The Banner Graphic over there is gonna report on this issue. It's gonna be in the Banner Graphic, and I'll probably get a call tomorrow.
Maybe
Because
they can put it on front and
They're,
center.
they're going to find out that we're considering organizing and taking some serious action. And I'll bet you, as soon as it runs, they'll get a notice in Jacksonville, Florida,
Well,
that
if we can
Cloverdale's
get-
upset, and they're gonna call asking what they can do.
If we can get Banner Graphic involved, maybe we can get 59 involved in some of the other news teams and, you know, put it on
I
TV.
have a feeling Banner will probably get that accomplished, but this, unfortunately, that's the way it works. No one seems to care until you get people going on this issue. And if it means us spending some money to hire and there are firms that do this type of thing, what they'll do is they'll come and get people to sign letters and send them to their congressmen and their
Well,
senators.
let's look at all options at this point, if it's,
There are a couple that I feel pretty confident will probably take something on like this and assist us with this, but I do think this is probably the biggest issue. Now, it seems like we make all kinds of issues out of everything anymore, but this is an issue that I think everyone can agree on, needs to be fixed.
well, it's been a forever issue.
Yeah, 34 years. But, so I'm pretty frustrated if you haven't noticed, and I really love to. We've saved on a lot of other areas. This is where I think we can devote on something that truly makes an impact on this community, and I don't know anybody that's going to complain. I don't think.
Thought is, if the banner angle doesn't work,
No pressure.
no pressure. I suspect it
No
will,
pressure.
with the repeated articles running over the next couple of weeks, but
Big articles.
big articles. Front page, I assume, with a lot of pictures. If you would email me a little summary of the people you tried to reach out to, and maybe some pictures, then I can really forward that to my person and see if we can't get it over.
Invite your person down, we'll take him for a ride over it.
That, at the same time as the banner will, I mean, let's baby step on that. That would be ideal, they would be spending their entire time visiting bad intersections if they did that. But I think that might be something we can pursue while, if you want to reach out to a couple different.
Well, it's
Routes.
different if it's a, you know, back road that doesn't get traveled, but that road gets an extraordinary amount of people going over
And Mr.
it. All
Chairman.
our firefighters responding to fire calls
Yeah.
trying to get over it.
Right.
It just, it's a dangerous intersection for all.
It's a dangerous intersection, but also a train has not crossed these tracks
Right.
for 34 years.
Right.
There's not been a train, and there won't be a train ever again on this track.
Right.
There is no train, there are no sections of rail out in Market Street. There will never be a train touch those rails again, and they refuse to repair them. What they just need to do is abandon it altogether.
Right. And turn it over, they are slow to do that, but they're willing with enough kindness. If you would be so kind as to send me that email with some details and pictures, let's go that angle, and at the same time, we can reach out to a couple different groups who have success dealing with CSX, and then,
No one has success. You know, CSX.
Challenges.
All right,
It's a race between the banner and myself. I appreciate it.
so we'll discuss CSX again next month.
Yeah.
With the note.
But if you would send me that email details and some pictures, I'll forward that on and see what I
Okay,
can.
new business. We have a current opening for the council ward 2 vacancy. If anybody has anybody they want to recommend, we're more than willing to listen, because we do need to fill that position. So if you know anybody that's interested, please send them our way.
We confirm whether we can appoint?
Yes.
Yes.
So there's a window where the chairman can hold a caucus, make the appointment with the precinct committee person. That time period has passed. There actually was a caucus. Unfortunately, there was some errors in the process, and the person who was elected in the caucus isn't able to serve because they're not in the district.
Right.
You have to be a resident of that ward to be appointed. So once that window closes, the town board has the ability to make an appointment.
So that brings us to a park board vacancy that was vacated by.
Yeah, vacated by me.
So we also have an open position there. And again, if anybody knows anybody that's interested or wants to get involved, please send them our way.
You have to live in town.
Hmm?
You have to be a resident of town,
Yes.
which is the problem.
And that brings us to American Legion Fireworks.
Great. I'm sorry, before you move on to that,
Just-
can I say something about the park board?
Yes.
Okay. In review, our town code does not match the statutory requirements of the state. We have been adhering to the state law, but our code doesn't match. The membership, the terms that's served, all of that is different. If council would like, I can prepare an ordinance for next month to just clean up the language in our town code to make us match the state code.
There's been a couple attempts at ordinances over the last 20 years that I don't know if they followed or, but Kelly's right, this needs to be cleaned up just going forward, so.
So a motion for Kelly to work on that and work with Richard and get this set up.
I move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
One question I have, the town does have the option as a small town. One of the statutory requirements is the park board cannot have more than 2 people of the same political party. But the state does allow us to waive that as a small town, recognizing it's very hard to get volunteers of any nature. So would you like that exception written into the ordinance?
Yes.
Motion for that.
Yeah, motion that we can keep that second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, that brings us to the Legion Fireworks. Somebody?
Yeah, I think you could probably come up if you.
Mike, I was like, wait, am I going or are you going? Before I start, I just was, I am hard of hearing, so if I may have to ask you to repeat something at some point. My name's Lisa Quiet. I'm here as a representative for the American Legion. So if anybody in town knows, about 4 years ago at the American Legion, we really wanted to bring fireworks back to the town of Cloverdale. We did it as just something that wanting to bring something to the town. The intent wasn't just for it to be the Legion fireworks. Thankfully, it's been extremely successful over the years. But one of the complaints that we get every year is that you cannot see them outside of the Legion area. And also, the Legion is limited on space, right? Like right now, we're parking people at the high school, we're bringing them down. So one of the things we would like to do this year is to try out letting fireworks off at the town park. And so that is, so I went to the park board, explained what we'd like to do. It would include closing the park at 6 p.m. on the 4th of July, putting up a snow fence around where the fireworks would be going off, and then making sure that we clean them up afterwards. But They agreed, they were in agreement with doing it there, but now I'm coming to the board to ask if you guys have any questions or issues with doing that.
Have we gotten copies of the certificate of insurance?
I have not gotten a copy. I have a copy of the policy. So I guess let me add that is, so we have $1 million policy that covers us. We also expect to get coverage for that day for the individual that's lighting off the fireworks, so we'll get an additional policy for that day. We'd also like to, this is all a great idea, but until we test it out, we don't know if it would even work. So we'd like to be able to do a test drive of it on Friday night before, which is pretty quick behind this. So with that is I expect that you'll want an additional coverage on that night as well. So I want to make sure before we actually file for those additional that I could, I get agreement that we can do it. I don't want to put Mark McKinnon through giving me stuff if you guys don't.
The driver is just setting it up and getting the area ready. You're not going to do 2 nights of it.
Yes, we would do. So to clarify, the fireworks on Friday night would be about 5 minutes. I mean, we'd probably light off about 10 to 20 fireworks. Make sure we'll have people all around town to let me know, hey, can you see them from there? Make sure that on the Legion property we can see them. I mean, ultimately, this is a Legion event, right? For us to pay for these fireworks, we have to make money. So if we can't see them on the Legion property from the park, there's no value in us moving there yet at this point until we can find another way, because we have to be able to pay for them. Yeah.
So you're just gonna use the park as a launch
Yes.
facility, it's not
Yes.
all the vendors and everybody
No.
will still be at the Legion?
Yeah, and I talked with Carrie Shepherd from the fire department. Every year they're there where the fireworks are being lit off to make sure he is completely okay with them being at the park, and they'll be stationed at the park both Friday night and on the 4th of July.
Will you have security to ensure that residents don't get near the?
So with the fireworks, like once they're getting set up, somebody's there the whole time with them. The individuals are doing that. My plan, obviously Adam's not here, but he's obviously worked with me over the last 4 years, is seeing if we can have a police car there. I mean, we want to block the park. Nobody can get in the park outside of the individuals doing the fireworks. And then we're going to do snow fence around the area where the fireworks will be, so nobody can get in there.
So we can set up barricades at the entrances and post it that it's closed.
The park board is willing to help advertise both the Friday night and the 4th of July to let the residents know that
That it's coming.
what's that move, right?
Yeah.
All those things, and that the park will be closed both of those evenings.
If the first event isn't effective for the people at the Legion, what would be the plan B?
We would keep it on the Legion grounds.
Okay.
So right now, we keep it, so our property butts up to the park. Where the creek is, we do it down there. I can't tell you the depth. I'm gonna say, 20 feet. I mean, it's definitely, the fireworks are still pretty high up, but us moving up to a higher ground is really gonna make a huge difference for the whole town to be able to see them.
Any liability concerns from you, assuming the insurance is in order?
As soon as the insurance is over, yeah.
Okay. You just need a straight copy, certificate of insurance for all 3 dates.
Yes.
Policy and then all 3 dates, or 2 dates, so, yeah, okay.
Our insurance asked that we be listed as an additional insured
Yeah,
for those dates, so
Yeah.
that's all that he required.
yeah.
Have you had any trouble in the past?
Any trouble? No. No. It's all electronic, and just to clarify, if you guys ever go to a football game, I'm the one that takes care of fireworks over there too. I mean, we do them at the high school, yeah.
Can you pull up drainage for me?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
And towel.
Okay. Just check.
I should have told her I only have 9 toes. Yeah. It is a very simple, easy, and like I said, we're gonna do cleanup. Like at the high school as we do it, I mean, there's not much to clean up. I mean, it's pretty easy and clean.
Is there any risk of the fireworks getting into neighboring properties? Do you expect that or not?
I mean, there's always for any kind of firework, I think there's gonna be ash, right? I don't have any concern. We are going to be a little bit closer to the house that's right on 231 than what we are, well, to one house. The other house,
Yeah.
we're just the same distance as we are from it, so there's really no difference. And I know there was talk about the log cabin concern there. I brought it up to the fire marshal, and he was like, yeah, I'm not concerned with it at all. It's, yeah. I mean, we actually lined them up next to the school buses at the school, so, yeah.
And I assume there's been no incidents,
Say that again?
there's been no issues?
No.
No complaints from neighbors, no?
No. We've only had, well, yeah, none about the fireworks, no. About community members walking through a yard.
No, you answered the
Yes.
question, yeah.
Yes, but no. About, the only complaint about the fireworks is you can't see them unless you're there. I mean, people are parked all down 231 and trying to see the fireworks. It's,
Sound come Legion.
yeah.
Okay. So, any other discussion from the board? Somebody want to make a motion?
I move that, assuming the insurance certificates come through in an order, that we allow, I would say both nights, permission for both nights.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Could you just confirm, who am I bringing? Am I bringing OG? Okay, I just make sure. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so this is, since Dennis has already spoke, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the mural project.
The mural project, that is the Putnam County mural project. They've done murals for several years here in Putnam County. They have selected a site in Cloverdale again this year. If you recall, they did the water, the old water plant on East, Robert Weast. Was that last year or was that 2 years ago?
2 years ago, I think.
Okay, 2 years ago. But they have selected the building there on East Kylie Way, which is the boutique store owned by Kathy Morgan. They would like to put it on the east side. They've already got an agreement for easement with Kathy to put it on the east side of the store. So the alley between Putnam County Hospital's office and the boutique, but it would be on the boutique side. They have just asked if it would be possible to close that alley down when work is happening. They have to prime the side of the building, clean it, that whole thing. And then when the artist is here, they had sent a letter or an email to you that's in your packet, so if you want to look through that. I have no problems working with her from time to time.
How long do they expect it to take?
I think it was only a week last year for the painting, but then there were a couple of prep days before that. That's a pretty small wall compared to some of them that we've seen, so I'm guessing it's probably not gonna take that long. But I'd be willing to coordinate that, but
We know it's being painted.
we don't.
Do we have any concerns by not knowing what's going to be painted?
They've been fair every year, they've done a really good job.
Yeah,
Okay.
actually, even the mural committee does not have say over what is gonna be
And
painted.
they keep it pretty neutral.
Okay.
So, they've just requested to be able to shut the alley down when they're doing that work. I have no concerns with that, but obviously I'd just like your permission to do that.
That's the alley by the doctor's office?
Correct. I don't think it'll take, I mean, even some of those days weren't full days when they do paint, because sometimes they have to come in and paint for a couple hours.
So we're only gonna shut down well that are working.
Correct,
So,
correct. Yes. But I can coordinate with the real works on that. But that's up to you to decide if you want to allow it or not.
We wanna make a motion that we go ahead and move forward with this and just let Jason coordinate it?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The next item is the town hall sign, and Kelly, you wanted me to talk about this, is that right?
Sure.
This is the sign out front, the electronic sign. We have had some issues with it as of late. It does have some cosmetic issues with it. The plate on the top, obviously, it's not sitting in there properly. I think we're probably past the date of needing to replace it. We have not looked into repairing it. It seems to keep tripping the breaker back here and taking out our evidence room at the same time. So, but also, if you can see the LEDs, it's an antiquated sign.
It's all the time.
So we were just having those discussions, whether it's time to look at replacement of that. I don't know where we would get funding for something like that, other than just us self-funding.
Let's,
I have not looked into prices or anything.
Let's start pricing it out for replacement.
Are there any preferences? I mean, is the size satisfactory with you guys, or?
Let's price out, I mean, these new signs they can put so much on them. You know, you can sit at a computer and type in what you want and create what you want real easy.
And I will say, Tammy is really good about getting that changed up. I don't know if you guys pay much
Yes.
attention, but it does get used. I mean, I have a lot of people mention things to me that they saw on that sign. So, and we do use it for, not only do we put meetings that are being held here, but if there's a boil order, which we're required to do notifications, and, you know, if there's a football game or we win the county championship in basketball or something, we put that on there. So it's, you know, it's kind of a community-minded thing as well. Tammy's really good at
A lot of people in town use it for information for that, so we need to make it visible and user-friendly.
I will start working on, we just had this conversation this week, last week.
I know Jordan's just put a big sign up at his garage, and it's a huge sign, and we put stuff on it all the time, so it's very visible.
Well, I will start researching what it takes to get one.
Okay. That brings us to citizens' comments. Does anybody have anything they want to talk about? Well, this meeting's adjourned. Thank you all for coming.